section if you got.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So while we wait for more people to join in, probably we'll start by 5 minutes past. Just wanted to find out how many of you guys have started. Have you gone through chapter 1? Have you done the first homework? Where are you guys? Any challenges that you're having with the program? Please feel free to share so we can assist. Yeah, Ketumila, you can go ahead. You can unmute your mic.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, sir?
Well. Yeah, I haven't submitted the homework yet. But yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of things. The submission part. Yesterday Enoch said he would tell us when to submit, because he said there's. So I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Getting through that
That's
part yet.
Yeah, you will be able to submit until sometime today. We'll give you an update. But just wanted to know if you are facing some challenges, if you're already done with the homework.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
did you work on it? Did you work on the homework? Did you deploy your project?
I haven't yet deployed the project. But that's what I'm about to do. I just wanted to catch into this lesson because later I might not be in the 8 p.m. session. So
Okay.
just in case. But yeah, I'll give you feedback if I have any problem concerning deployment.
Okay. No problem,
Thank
sir.
you.
No problem. Yeah, what
Thank you.
about others? Mr. Baron, are you there? There's Kesego, Paco. What is your progress, guys? We'll want to hear from you. Any challenges that you're facing?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Thus far, I've been able to complete chapter 1, but I haven't started with doing the project itself. So I think I'll start doing it today, after this lesson or the session.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Topo Anthony, I think it's the first time seeing your name. If you've been with us in the previous sessions, remember to unmute your mics, guys. If you are speaking, you can just unmute your mic.
Yeah, I missed yesterday's lesson, so I'm having difficulties configuring. Getting the CDK.
Okay. Are you on your laptop?
Yeah. Yes, I'm on my laptop.
Are you able to share your screen? Maybe we can just see what challenges you have. We can go through with you. Maybe somebody is facing the same issue.
The part where it says I should have.
Come again?
Am I audible? My network
okay, yeah, I think there was a challenge with the network. You can repeat what you were saying.
The part where it says I should have a Linux sub.
Windows
that
subsystem.
part properly. Yeah.
We're having a challenge to install WSL.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you can have a call after this one, and they can help you out, so, since that one takes a little bit of some time. But anyway, so today we'll get
Okay.
into. Okay, awesome. So today we'll be talking about the types that are found in Motoko, in the Motoko language, and we'll just go through a little bit of some examples on arrays and buffers. So let me just share my screen. So let me actually move this here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna be using Motoko Playground for this, since yesterday, shared with you on how you can get started using your VS Code. So for the sake of just saving more time, I'll just do my examples using Motoko Playground. But anyway, so the first type that we have in Motoko that I'll talk about is actually character. And again, whenever you need to access the documentation, remember you can just go here internetcomputer.org. On the documentation, you'll find the one for Motoko. Okay. So with characters, characters are just basic, like let me just create an actor here. I'm sure we all know what an actor is. And a character is just a single character, and we can define it in Motoko and say, let's see, of type character be equal to C. So here you also have to use single quotes. If you use double quotes, I'm so sure you'll get an error. So be mindful of that. Characters, you use a single quote. As you can see here, it will give you an error that's a literal of type text does not have the expected type character or car, should I say. So we'll have to put a single quotes for you to actually define a character. Okay. You can also define a character and just say let character of type car equal to 0. Again, use single quotes. So this is one way, another way of actually defining your character. So it doesn't mean you have to use a single letter when you're naming your type. Okay. Now we also let another character type car equal. It can be any type of could it be a letter? Could it be be a number. This also can be a number like I showed you here. This is 0. Or you can even put a pipe. Okay. And this will still be okay. And this can all be a character. So now we can also manipulate characters, and we can come here in the documentation and see all the other functions that we can apply to our characters. So there is value to nat. So nat stands for natural number. I hope most of you now understands that. And it's also a type. So there's nat32, there's all different types of nats, but nat just stands for natural number. Okay. And you can convert your car to text. Here, this is a function for converting it to text. You can also check if it is a digit, if it is white space, and the likes. So here we'll just pick up one example, like is it a digit? Okay. So here, because now we want to do manipulation, we'll have to do an import of the character library. So we'll import it from Motoko base. So this is how you import the character library. Okay, then now we can start doing all the manipulations that we want to do with the character. So what we can do here is actually declare a function which is public. So this is how you declare a function, and I'll call it test. Right? Sorry about that. And then it will return no type, the type Boolean, because we are going to be using, remember, is it a digit? We are checking if it is a digit. So from this here, it says the function takes a character and then returns the type Boolean. Okay. So we'll return the type. So this is the return type that we have after these 4 columns. Okay. So we'll do car dot is digit. Then we'll check for one of the letters. Let's just say the character C. Then we close here. Okay, so let us run and deploy this. So I'll go ahead and install. So it's installing our canister and requesting a new canister ID. And as you can see here, it said it got a canister ID. And now it has been installed in the canister. So we'll go ahead also and open the Candid UI. So the purpose of Candid UI is to check whatever you have written here and interact with your code. So remember that our function test is simply just taking a character, which is C here, and checking if it is a digit. So go ahead and check. And here it has given us the result, which is false. Okay, so if we check, of course, C is not a digit. So that's the reason why it was false. If you put something different, like a digit, like 1 or 2, and check again, this will become true. Okay. And then we can also take a look at the type natural number that I was speaking of. So let's just go through natural numbers. Right. So with natural numbers from the documentation, I'm just reading from the documentation. So natural numbers with infinite precision. Most operations on natural numbers, e.g., addition, are available as built-in operators, e.g., 1 + 1. This module provides equivalent functions and text conversion. So if you want to use or do any operations with the natural numbers or the nat type, what you have to do first is to import, just like what I did here with car. So you can just do an import of nat. And if you check on the documentation, you are importing it from the Motoko library again. So you can just go ahead and say more base, then the type. Then you close that. So you can also do a number of functions, and all the functions that you can do on natural numbers are here. When you're declaring a natural number, okay, we'll get back to that in a moment, but here we have a function. We can do function to text. From text, you can actually, so here it says it converts a natural number to its textual representation. Textual representation do not contain underscores to represent commas. An example, you can convert the natural number or the nat to a text. Okay, then we also have operations like equals. We have not equal. And if you go down here, you'll see functions like this one, multiplication. So it returns the product of x and y, which is denoted here as x with asterisk, then y. This operator will never overflow because natural numbers is infinite precision. Okay, and then you have an example here, 2 multiplied by 3, giving you the answer 6. Then we also have division, the remainder to the power of, etc. Okay, and then we can go also to text. We'll not really focus on some of this stuff because this is stuff that you can just read, and assuming that you have some programming knowledge, it will be easier for you guys to actually get started using these types. Okay, so for text, let me just go back to Motoko playground and just delete this. So for text, okay, let me just put this again in an actor, right? You can declare your text by saying let t of type text be equal to, sorry, it has to be capital T. Okay. Then you say hello. You can also say let, for example, s of type text be equal. Oh no, this keeps on disappointing. Yeah, you can also have, remember we can change our natural number into a text. So you can also have numbers as text. Okay, but you have to be very careful here because there are certain things that you can do. Although you can have the numbers as text, but sometimes then you can't do some operations if it's still text on those numbers unless you convert them back to natural number or net. So let R of type text be equal. So what you can actually do also is you can concatenate. That means you'll be combining this text and this text. So you can concatenate using ampersand sign like that. Okay. Okay, I have an error here from let because I didn't close this line. Okay. So this is how you can actually declare your variables. Okay. So let's just do an example here. So if we go back to the documentation, close this. right? So utility functions for text values. A text value represents human readable text. It's a sequence of characters of type char. So you can let text be equal to hello. You can get the size. You can iterate through the text. So let's just do a little bit of some examples. So the first thing you have to do here is to import the text module from the library. Okay, so go ahead and import. So we are importing text. Okay. So what we can go ahead and do here is define, declare our variables of type text. Okay, so we say let t of type text be equal to hello. And maybe we can also add another variable r of type text. And we can assign it to world. Okay. Always remember to put this the semicolon after every line that you would have written, so you don't get some errors from Motoko. Okay, so we can check for so we can let S and check for the size of a text, like here. We can let the size and be text.size. Okay, so we are just checking. So that's S of type text. Sorry. Okay. We can let it be. It's not of type text actually. That's natural number because it's a number. So it returns a natural number. So say t dot size is the example saying. Yeah. Then we can also, like the example that I gave you previously, we can also concatenate u of type text be equal to t and okay. So you can, so these two functions that they're doing, we have one here, size, which is just checking the size of our text, hello. And like in the example, it will return the number 6 because this is a natural number and we are checking the size. We'll also have to specify the type here as natural number. If we say text, this will throw an error. As you can see here, it says the expression of type nat cannot produce expected type text. Okay, so here we're telling the program that we're expecting a text from this, but then it's throwing an error because what is produced here or what is returned here is not a text. It's only a natural number. So that's how we can correct it. Okay, so there are more types that you can also take a look, depending on what you're going to be working on. All you have to do to make your life easy is just to come here and look for whatever type that you want to work with. And also, like demonstrated in one of the lectures, you can actually ask the AI or companion that is on the documentation website. Okay. Okay. So let us now take a look at arrays. So back to the documentation. Actually, if there's any questions, you can ask if there's any questions on types or what I was just going through. Check a question. Okay. If there are no questions, I'll proceed. Okay, so in array, it provides extended utility functions for array. Note the difference between mutable and non-mutable arrays below. Warning is for those purposes. Arrays must be created with a fixed size. So if you want to use an array, you have to do any you have to import actually arrays from the Motoko library. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and create let me just reload playground, create a new project. Okay, so we can create an actor and just call it test array. Okay, now we can declare our variable here and say words of type of an array of type text. So this is denoting that this is an array and the type is text. Okay, so you can also have, if you want to declare an array of natural numbers, you just have to change this to natural number or not, or any other type that you want to use. So here we have, so also, yeah, you can also have C. Character. If you want to have an array of characters. But here we want an array of text. And we can, like what the documentation is saying here, it has to have a fixed size. So here we can declare, and then we can assign the values. So let's just say Motoko is the favorite language in Botswana. Okay. Then we can close that off. Okay. Then we can also do certain operations. Like we can print all the elements of an array. For example, we can have a function. So since also remember we are going to be doing some manipulation of arrays, we then an import of the array library. So just making sure I did the correct thing. Okay, so we import arrays from more base array. Okay, there you go. Remember to put a semicolon. So here we just want to do a print of the elements of an array. So create a function and we'll call it print all elements. Then what is this function going to take as an input? It's just going to take an array. And we have to also state what the type of array it's going to take. So it's going to take an array of type text. And then here we state the return type. So if there is no return type, we just leave it like that. But remember to put AC. Okay. So we can, for us to actually print all the elements, we'll have to iterate through the elements that are in that array. So for us to be able to do that, we'll use a for loop. For I in array, in the array, I mean, dot files. So remember also to put your brackets here. We then say debug. So this is a library that you use if you actually want to print something on the screen. Okay. It's also available if you're using it when you're using a development environment like VS Code. Okay. But here I have an error, unbound variable debug, because I didn't import debug from the library. Okay, so I'll import debug in base. Okay. I'll close off all these. This must be good. I'll try to deploy. Okay, just waiting for the canister to be deployed. It has been deployed, so go ahead and open it. Okay. Again, we have to state the length of our array. So here you can either increase the number or you can just type it out and just say, okay, it's going to be 5. Okay. Then we have to input the elements of the array. So just say Motoko, create language children. Okay. And then we'll just call that function. Okay. As you can see, the return type here is now because we didn't state in here. The output log, it will show you that print all elements and the elements that are in our array, which is Motoko Great Language to Learn. Okay. So another manipulation is actually add arrays together. Let me just add a comment here. Add arrays. Okay. So we'll just declare another function and it's public. So the reason why also we have the public keyword before every function is because if a function can either be private or public. So sometimes if you just remove the public, it will then turn into a private function. But we want to access that function on Candid UI, that means it has to be public. Okay. So public function, what it does is it adds an array. Okay. I see a message that says, I don't know if it's my network. Can you guys hear me? Am I still audible? Okay. 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 I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that, guys. If it was breaking, but anyway, so we'll have a public function. And what it does, it adds some arrays. Okay. And what does it take? It takes array 1. And then remember, what do we do every time? We have to add the type. So it's an array of type text. And then it takes also array 2. Type text also. And then we add async and the return type. Because here we are adding 2 arrays and we want to see those arrays at the end. We'll have to add a return type, which is also an array of type text. Yeah. Then here we just have to say, go back to actually the documentation and check on how we can have 2 arrays added together. So there's one here which is called append. Let's check. It creates a new array by appending values of array 1 and array 2. But here it says it's deprecated. Okay. Let's check here if there's any other function that can do same thing. Okay. Although this is deprecated, let's just go ahead and try it out. Okay, so we'll say, from the documentation here, the function append, what it does is you have append, this is what we have already done, and then it returns the type. So we have 2 arrays. We say array dot append, and we state the type and the 2 arrays that we want to add together. Okay, so we say array dot append, then we state the arrays we want to append together. So array 1 that we've already declared, we are already taking in as an input, and then array number 2. Okay, so since we want to see this, we'll put this as return. We'll just return this so we can see the output. Okay, I'll close this with my semicolons. Okay, I think everything is good here. I'll go ahead and deploy again. So normally you can, if you have added some code or you've changed your code and you still want to run the same, you can either reinstall or you can upgrade. So I'll try to use upgrade here. So it's deploying the code installed in the canister. So I can go ahead again. Let me close this one. I can go ahead and open that. Okay. So we had print elements. Now we have a second function that we have added here that adds 2 values, 2 arrays, I mean. Okay, so we have to state the length again of the array. So let's have 4 here, and then we can have 4 here again. Or maybe let's just make it 5 to make it interesting. So let's just say hello, or maybe let's say it's an array of students. So I'll just pick some random students from the class. So there's Paco, there's Mr. Let's just call him Baron. There's Kitumile. And then there is okay. Then I'll just probably name presidents that I know. So maybe Obama, Biden. What is the president of Botswana? I'll add Mnangagwa. Oh my God. I forgot the name of the president of Botswana, guys. Okay, that's cool. I don't know who Eric is, but is that a president? I don't know. Anyway, so we have, okay, let's just have another president. Okay. So this is a president. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are lying or not. So anyway. Okay. So like you can see here, we have two arrays. We had arrays, an array of students and 5 presidents, and they have been combined together. So this is our return. What we have in return, Paco, Baron, Ketomile, Muda, and Obama, Biden, Mnangagwa, Zuma, and Eric. Okay. So that's how you actually concatenate two arrays. Oh, that's the first name of the president. Okay. No problem. Thank you for that. Okay. So the next thing that we can actually do, that we can actually do with our array, let me just come here, is we can actually do also mathematical operations. So let's just have an array where we can add 1 to all elements of the array. Okay. So we'll declare another function again. So it's a public function. That add, we'll name it add 1 to all elements. To all elements. Okay. So what this does, it actually takes in an array. Of course, these are numbers if you want to operate, use addition. And then this is going to be natural number. So this is an array of type not. And again, it does return an array of natural numbers also, which is not. Okay. And then now what this actually does, there is a function that is called map, the array. Let's just look for it. Okay. So the map function, it creates a new array by applying f, which is a function, to each element in array. Then f maps each element it is applied to of type x to an element of type y, retaining original ordering of elements. So if we have an example of an array 0, 1, 2, 3, we can actually map that array. Let's just do that example. And again, if you can notice here, guys, Motoko Playground is giving us a note or a warning that says field append is deprecated. So you wouldn't do this in actually in a live environment where you're actually using code that's supposed to be used by people. But here as an example, I was just showing you how to manipulate an array. Okay. So back to adding 1 to all elements. Okay, so what we actually need here is to use the map function. Like here it said, you will use, it will also use a function. that will apply. So what I will do here is go back to Motoko playground and actually declare a function also. So this is a function that we do not need to access, but it will be accessed by our public function here. So all we have to do is to make it private. If you remember the two different types of functions, the public and the private, we do not need to access it, but it will be used by one of our functions. Okay, so this is a private function. Okay, so this is where a private function that is as one to our array elements. Okay, so we'll just declare it as private. So it's good also for you to just have the keyword private so that you understand that this is a private function, but you can leave function only and it still be a private function, but it's always preferable to use the word private so that you know this is a private function. So this is our private function. We can call it at one. Okay. And then what does it take? It takes in a natural number. So it's n of type natural number, and then it returns that also. Okay. So it will simply take the n that it is taking in, and simply does n plus 1. That's all that this function is doing. Okay, then we have to close this. That's the reason why we're getting an error here. Then we come back to our function. So we are going to do a map. So we'll say array dot map, and then it is going to take the array and then the function also. So the function that we have is add one. And what you can do here, because we want to see the result, is return this. And we close that off. Okay. So we'll go ahead again and deploy this. I'll close this one off. Upgrade the canister because we have some changes. So normally also when you do these upgrades, your previous data will be wiped off. So if you need to access again your data, it's a topic for some coming lessons where you actually understand how you can retain the data that you would have stored in whatever array, if it is a buffer or something like that. Okay, so here we have add one to all elements. So let's just have 3 elements. So let's just have 10, maybe 30, and 77. If we call this, okay, as you can see, the 10 types is natural number, and all our elements have had 1 added to them. So we have 10 here, 10s to 11, 30, 31, 77 into 78. Okay, so you can go back to the library to the documentation, and you can take a look at all the other functions that you can actually use on an array. All of these, and you can try them out. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to take a look at, if there is any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. I don't know, Ketumile, are you asking a question? I see your hand is up. Is that a question?
Oh, no, sorry, it's not a question, sorry.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, so that was all about arrays. Now we'll take a look at the last thing, which is buffer. Since our time is almost coming to an end. All of these things, guys, you can see them on the docs website. And you can read more and understand how you can do manipulations and all. I hope that's not my internet. Should send to that. Buffer. Yeah. You guys can still hear me, right? I don't know why my internet is not. Mr. Eno, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know if it is my internet or actually the documentation page, which is acting up. But anyway, let's just go ahead and clear this. Just reload so that we don't have to still use the same canister. So we'll just say again, new project. Okay, so we'll take a look at a buffer. So we'll just edit again into an actor. Call it test buffer. Okay. So a buffer also, just like arrays, is not native to the Motoko language. So if you wanna use a buffer, you actually have to import it. So it's the same base buffer. Let me actually try to reload this. Okay. Okay, there you go. So a buffer is actually a class. Like here it says, class buffer provides a mutable list of elements of type X. So it can be the type text, it can be the type natural number or NAT. Then the class wraps and resizes as an underlying array that holds the elements. And thus is comparable to array list or vectors in other languages. Okay, so it's nothing complicated. Like here it says, it is comparable to array list. If you've bumped into array list before, then you understand a buffer is nothing much than just some arrays that are a bit more complicated. So for you to declare a buffer, I'm sorry, to actually declare a buffer, you can say let students, student names, come on, be equal to buffer dot buffer, and then you will then have to say or to state the type. So this is going to be since these are names, this is going to be type text, and then you can also mention how big your buffer is going to be. Okay, so this is declaring your variable, and then sometimes it may be confusing where we have buffer. So two buffers here. So remember, we are importing the buffer function. So we have the buffer function from the buffer library, and that's the reason why we have this. We have to state it twice. Yeah. Okay. So we have our buffer now. So we can do more manipulation. For example, we can add a new student. So we can say add new student here. Okay. So we'll have a public function code add student. And what is it going to take? For us to add a student, of course, we need the name of that student, and we have to state the type. So that is going to be text. Okay. And what is it going to return? It's also going to return type text. And then all we have to do here is say student Okay, so if you go to buffer also, you can take a look at some of the functions that you can actually use to manipulate your buffer. So there's the add function. It adds a single element to the end of the buffer, doubling the size of the array if capacity is exceeded. Okay, so we can use this and just say add. So an example here is you have your buffer, you add 0, add 1. So this is probably a buffer of natural numbers. Okay, so we can go back and say student names dot add the name that we are taking in here. Okay, then we close this with a parenthesis. Sorry, with a semicolon. And then we return. So return. So maybe let's just welcome the student to the Motoko or Web3 bootcamp or hackathon. So let's say welcome to MW3 hackathon. Then remember the ampersand. Its usage is for concatenation, and then we can close that off. So this function is simply adding a student to the buffer. So we'll just go ahead and deploy this. Okay. So there's a warning here that is warning about traps. We'll cover that on how to actually handle traps and the likes in some coming lessons. So we open again. So yeah, we can add a student. We can add Godwin. So like you can see here, it says welcome to MW3 hackathon Godwin. I probably didn't put, let me just put a comma here and some space so that our code looks cool. I'll deploy again, upgrade it. I'll close them off. We deploy the code. Okay, it's been installed. We open. Again, we add Godwin. So, welcome to MW3 Hackathon, Godwin. We can add another student. Bogo. I don't know if I said that correct. Okay. Again, welcome to MW3 Bogo. Okay. So that is adding a student, but now the problem is we can't actually take a look at how many students are in the buffer. Okay. So we can actually implement this next function so that it can show the contents, or let's just say show the students in our buffer. Okay, so just implement another function, which is public. And then this function is going to be a query function. So unlike other functions where we are taking an input, this function is only going to be, we are just going to be looking into the buffer and finding how many students are there and their names. Okay, so instead of just calling it a function, we'll actually call it a query function because you're just performing a query. I hope that's easy to understand. So we'll call it show students. put our parentheses here. It's not taking any values, so we'll not put anything inside our parentheses. And then the next thing we'll do is to state the return time. So remember, this is a buffer, so it's what it will actually do is return the text as an array. So it will return the text array. Okay, and then we close. So if we go to buffer again, there is a function called toArray. So there's this one. So toArray, it says, is deprecated again. So use static library functions instead. So there is another toArray if you go down here. Here it is. So this creates an array containing elements from a buffer. An example, if you add the numbers, then you can say buffer toArray and state the type and then the buffer that you actually want to change into an array. Okay, so we can say buffer, like in the example, dot toArray. Then the type, which is text, then which buffer we are going to be doing that to is student name. We'll just wait. I'll actually close this so that we can open again. I'll actually upgrade it because we have added more code. So we just wait for it to tell us here that it has been so it has been installed. Yeah. So code installed at the Candy started now. We can check. Candid UI. Okay. So now we have the query function that says show students. Here we will go ahead. Okay, so first of all, if you query this, right, it will return nothing because there's no students in the buffer. Again, like I said, if you upgrade your canister, all the data that was there will be deleted. So we'll go ahead and add some students again. So add Paco. Yeah, it welcomes Paco. And then we'll add Tebogo. Then we'll also add, so Tebogo has been welcomed. We'll also add Godwin. Cool. Okay. So now we have added all the students into the buffer. Now we want to check which students we have. So as you can see, we have Paco, we have Tebogo, we have Godwin. Okay, then we can also perform a function like remove. So we can remove the students. Okay, so this function is going to perform a remove. So we are going to remove the student by name. So what this actually does is it iterates through the buffer and removes the first instance of the name. So whenever it finds the name, it removes it. So let us declare our function, public function. Let's call it remove student. And what does it take in as an input? It takes the name of type text. And then we also have to mention the return type. So this is not going to return anything. It is just going to remove the student from our buffer. Okay. So we'll go ahead and do this. Why is it giving me an error? Okay. Let's go ahead and say, so since we are going to be taking a look into the whole buffer, we actually have to iterate through, sorry, actually see the error now. Oh, there you go. Okay, I had left some space between remove and student. So we are going to iterate through the buffer. So we'll just say for the name that is inside our buffer in student names dot files. So this files just stands for files. That is easy to understand. So we iterate through our array. So say let removed, because we haven't declared removed, or let's say call it removed. Name be equal to student name dot remove counter. Okay. Dot remove name, student name. Okay, the reason why I used remove is because we have a function called remove. Let me just look for it in the buffer library. There's a lot of functions here. Remove duplicates. Must be a remove. I don't know. I can't see it. Oh, here we go. So, so the function remove removes and returns the element of at index of the buffer. So here's the issue now, guys. It takes this remove takes an index instead of the name, like what we did here. Okay. So what we actually have to do is we have to invent now a counter that will just, as we are iterating, we're checking at what counter number we are at, since we take the index on this. So we'll say name it counter. And this is also going to be a natural number, and then we'll initialize it to 0. Okay. So remember, this is just a counter that counts every time we check a name. Okay. So we'll close this, and then every time we go through the loop, what we actually do is we increase the counter by 1. So we add 1. Okay. So here, instead of name, we put counter. Okay. I hope that was clear. Okay, so let's just go ahead and deploy. We have upgraded our canister again. So that means we have to go ahead and add some students again. So we are going to add some students again. Let me just take a look at other students that we have. Okay. And only call each students per time, per each moment. Okay, say go. Ketumile. Then last but not least, okay, so let's just go ahead and query and show the students that we have here. So it's showing us the students that we have been added to the school table, Tebogo, Kesogo, Ketumile, and Mode. So we are going to remove, let's say, Kesogo. Let me actually put a capital there. So we call. Okay, it does not return anything, but it has removed the students. So let's go ahead and query again. As you can see, Kesego is gone. Then we now have Ketumile in Mode, but I think we had somebody else has been removed. Let's check. Let's add someone else, maybe Baron. Query. Okay. It has removed Baron. Query. What could be the error? It's still showing Baron. Okay, Kesego, you can go ahead. What do you
I
think
don't
is
know,
the
sir.
error here?
I
Come
think
again?
maybe it's the counter because when you say you are removing me, it is going to add another person. Hear it?
It's going to add another person when I say I'm removing.
No, when you remove me,
Yeah.
it's going to add another person whom you are removing. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. It's like
Mhm.
okay, let me say it in this way. It's like, let me just say you have 5 apples, okay, and you want to remove 1 apple. So by the time when you remove another apple, another one is going to be removed, which means that you will be left with 3 apples. It's like this counter is consuming another thing, is consuming another apple.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's an
You get it?
interesting take. I get it. It's an
Yeah,
interesting
maybe
take.
the counter might be the problem.
Okay. Let's take a look again. Okay, let's remove Byron again for the second time. Let's see what it does. Okay, remove the student Byron. Let us query. Okay, so now we have an empty buffer. Let's start again adding more students. So we add Byron. So we add K2 caps on everything. Let's add Kesego. Then we query. So everyone is there, Byron, Ketumile, Kesego. So let's try to remove Kesego. Okay. It says Kesego has been removed. Let's query. But Kesego is still there. It has removed everyone else. Mr. Enoch, what are your thoughts? How can we fix this?
Okay.
So our counter is, I hear what you said, Kesego, but our counter, could it be the problem with the counter? Because what is happening here is we have initialized it to 0, and then we iterate into the first index. Is that correct? We
Um,
go into the first
the
index.
count
We check if it is equal. Okay, you can go ahead, Mr. Enoch.
Okay.
So, okay,
Okay, the counter is like the ID for the students, right?
yeah, which is the index.
Which is the index, right?
Yes.
And every time you add, you are not adding, are you increasing the counter?
I am increasing the counter every time. So there's something that I've left out in the code. That's what we're
Yeah.
trying to debug here.
Okay, to add the
Okay, anyone, or maybe before you answer, Mr. Enoch, anyone else who has a different thought, so that we avoid the instructors just giving all the answers. Or maybe Kesego, like I love the approach that you are looking at it. Do you have an idea of how we can fix? Because this is an issue to do with the code.
Okay, so like I don't know how I can say it.
Okay.
You know, let's look
There
at
is
it.
there is a bug. There is a bug in the code. If you look at it. Because
Let's talk about let's remove name. Let's remove name equals to student name dot remove and parameter. And then you say counter.
again.
Why the counter remove
Mm-hmm.
parameter there. Why don't we place? I'm not saying that we can have, it's my thought, right? Why
Mm-hmm.
don't you just say student name, I guess, again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We can say
Yes.
that this will give us an error. As you can
Okay.
see, it says the expression of type text cannot produce the expected type. So this function, if you go back to the buffer, it says it removes and returns the element at the
Oh,
index of the buffer. So what it's requiring is not the name; it wants the index of the of 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 the of the
now I
buffer
get it.
where the name that you are trying to remove is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a small bug. Any thoughts from anyone else? Okay, so here it's good. This is not a bug. Okay, so again, guys, instead of checking for the name, we didn't check for the name. We just removed. Remember, the person is going to state the name first, and then after stating the name, then they are going to remove that name. So here, what we didn't provide is telling which name we want to remove. Actually, like telling the code that remove this name. So we left out an if statement. Do you understand? So this if statement is going to check if the name inside, okay, equals the name that has been inputted by the user. So we are going to add this now. So we are going to remove this here and check here. And then after that, if it is checked and it is not found, what it is going to do is increase the counter. Okay, I have to close this off. I think this must solve it. Okay. Always remember also to put some full columns. We always forget. So we are going to deploy this again, upgrade it. Close this on. Our code has been installed. So, and the candid UI again. So since we don't have any students, let's just check. There are no students. We will start to add them again. Let's have Paco. We can have Kitumile. We can have Mr. Baron. Last but not least, Kesego. Okay. If we query the students, now they are showing Paco, Ketumile, Baron, and Kesego. They are now in the buffer. Now, we want to remove Baron. Okay, it returns that. Then we query again. Now, it's giving us the correct thing. Paco, Ketumile, Kesego. Let's remove Kesego. Well, let's remove Paco again. Okay, query. So we are left with Ketumile and Kesego. Now, our code is correct. Okay. I hope that was useful, guys. I hope whoever was asking for the code in the chat, you didn't want to plug it into ChatGPT. Or maybe you can tell us if you did. What was it was you, Mr. Baron. Okay, you said no. I'll trust you on that one. So yeah, guys, our time is have gone above our time, and I hope this was really fruitful for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask any questions if you have any. So after this, you can go ahead and get started on the exercise for day 2. And then you can go ahead when you're done reading. You can go ahead and start the exercise or the homework. Should we say? I think by day end, like Mr. Enoch said, the platform will be ready for you guys to submit your assignments and everything. Then we can get started. You can get started with submitting your assignments. So if there is no any other questions, if you feel like you have a question later, feel free to reach out in the Discord or Telegram groups, and then we can answer your question from there. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.